Hello, my name's Sharon and my channel's Budget Crafty Mama. We're going to be continuing with the baby shower set. Today we're going to be making one of the Taggy cloths. Now on my Taggy cloths I've put these little plastic clips. Let's see if I've got some here in the bag. And I just ordered these off, I think I got these off Amazon. But you can get these relatively inexpensive. And it's just like a little plastic clip and a little ring thing, and I just put these through one of the ribbons before I sew it on, so that this can just be clipped onto the baby's clothing or onto the strap on the pushchair, and it just prevents them losing it. We all know what babies like when they lose something they've got attached to. It's just dreadful. Although when you've made it yourself, it's not difficult to get another one, because you can just make another one yourself. So, but you know, this just saves the upset. And then I'm going to be attaching one of these little wooden teething rings as well, because these are kind of cool for them to be able to teeth on, and it's also a different texture for them to play with. And you know what babies like, they like to put their fingers through things and hang on to stuff, and so it's a different texture, but they're actually a teething ring that you can add on to them. And then I just ordered a lot of ribbon, because I make a lot of them, and I've cut the ribbon into 4-inch strips. So you'll just need to sort of cut it into 4 or 4.5-inch strips, depending on how long you want your little ribbon tags. You're going to fold them in half, you see, so that they've got like a loop. So I cut mine 4 inches, and that's long enough for them to loop over and to just catch inside the thing. So I'll reposition the camera and we'll get on with making these. They're so easy to do, so quick to do. We'll get on with making them. You can see I've got my fabric. I've got 2 pieces of fabric and I've got right sides together. I've also picked out some ribbon that we're going to use for the little taggies to go around the edges. So this is going to be like these little taggies to go around the edges. So I've picked out several different sorts of colour ribbon, and I've got 4 pieces of each colour to go around the edges. Then I've also got one of the buggy clips, so this will sort of clip the cloth onto the strap of the pushchair so that they don't lose it. And then I've got one of the little wooden teething rings. So this is basically the supplies you're going to need. Now you can choose whatever colour ribbons you want. You can put on as many different colours as you want. If you've got scrap ribbons in a bundle that you want to just pick different colours and make it completely random, that's entirely up to you. So I'm going to use, I've got a template that's very handy size. It's 12.5 inches by 12.5 inches, which will give me, when I've sewn it, a 12-inch taggy, which is, I think, the perfect size. But it's entirely up to you if you're making one, what size you make it to. You know, you might want to make it 10 inches, you might want to make it 14 inches. So I'm just going to cut this out, and I'm going to use my rotary cutter, and I'm just going to slice up. And then I've got one of these nice little handy tables that spins. And then, as you can see, that's nicely cut out. Now, although I've done this with that square and it's, you know, like a nice square size, what I recommend when you're cutting them out, they don't always come out exactly square when you're doing it by hand. So I would always mark the top of mine so that I know the 2 sides that are going together. So I know when I'm sewing these together, those are the tops. So I'm just going to put the back away for a bit, and I'm just going to leave this top piece out. And what we're going to do is we're going to line up the ribbon around the edge of this. Now, how I like to do it is I like to put the centres in on all of them first, and I just roughly eyeball this and just peg them on. I don't like to use pins on this, I like to just peg them on. And as you can see with this one, I've got the rainbow's got a very directional, so I want to make sure as I'm going round I'm putting it in the same direction. But again, that's, you know, your own personal preference. I've cut all these ribbons to 4 inches, so that they're all about the same size. Now, if you wanted to be very precise, you could measure this and do it exactly, but I tend to just eyeball it. So I'm going to just pop these sort of roughly in place as to where they're going to be going. There we go. Right, and then on one of the corner ones I will make sure that I put this on. I'm just going to make sure that's nicely placed on that corner. I don't know if you can see that. I've just popped that one onto that corner, and then over on this side, on the opposite side, I'm going to put the little wooden teething ring. Just going to eyeball that up again. And then I'm just going to go around and fold all these on and peg them on. So I'll come back when I've done that and explain the next step. Right, so as you can see, I've put that ribbon all the way around and I've tagged it all the way around. And on one end I've got my little teething ring, and on the opposite corner I've got my little clip. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the sewing machine and literally just not even 1/4 of an inch, about 1/8 of an inch, I'm just going to stitch all the way around the edge just to secure these ribbons into place, because when it comes to putting this piece on and trying to sew it on, it can move a little bit and it can slip and slide, so it's easier to deal with if these are already just sort of tacked down before you try sewing this on. So I just go around and I just do sort of 1/8 of an inch all the way around and just tack it down so that it's nice and secure. So I'm just going to do that, and then I'll come back and show you the next stage. Right, so as you can see, I've just gone around and sewn it, so they're all attached now. So now what I've got to do is just pop the 2 halves together. Now I popped this clip back on so I could remember which side goes to which. It does make life just a little bit easier. I'm going to try and put all those in, and then we're just going to line these 2 up together. I'm going to start with the corners. I'm just going to put some clips on them, on all 4 corners. And then I'm just going to put a couple of clips along just to hold it in place while I'm stitching it under the machine. Now And then at the top here I like to put both those clips together, and it reminds me to leave a gap to turn it round. A few in this side. And there you go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go round, and about 1/4 of an inch away from the edge I'm just going to stitch all the way around, and I'm just going to leave a sort of about a 2.5 to 3 inch gap sort of up here for turning. So I'm just going to go to the machine now, and I'm just going to sew all the way around, and then I'll come back. Right, so I've sewed all the way around the edge, and I've left my opening there for turning. So all I want to do now is trim off these corners just a little bit so that they're not so bulky. I'm trimming them off, and I'm going sort of reasonably close to my stitching but not over it, because I don't want to create a hole there. And then all I'm just going to do is I'm just going to go to the far corner, and I'm just going to turn it the right way. Go to each corner, just turn it around the right way. Give them a bit of a wiggle, which always helps them come out. And I'm just going to run my chopstick along the seams just to make them lie slightly flatter. And then I'm just going to grab my an ironing board. Let me just grab that. And then I'm just going to give it a bit of an iron. And the nice handy thing about these ribbons is you can always use them to just give them a little pull to make sure it's just coming out flush. Right, so now I've ironed it all the way around. I'm just going to take it to the machine, and I'm going to top stitch all the way around, which will also seal up this hole here where I turned it. Now if you wanted to, you could do a decorative stitch around the edge like I did with the baby blanket that I made, but I'm just going to use pink, and I'm just going to top stitch quite close to the edge all the way around, and that's basically it then. That's the blanket finished. So I'll just go and top stitch, and then I'll come back. Right, so that's it finished. It's a pretty simple project, I think. But if you haven't got the time or the inclination to make it, you can always pop over to my website. I sell them on there, which is budgetcraftymama.com. So I hope you've liked this video. If you have, please give it the thumbs up, and hopefully you'll subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of the future videos that I put out. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!